can take a moment just to make yourself comfortable. Finding a seat with a tall spine, equally weighted across both of your sits bones, and gently drawing your shoulders back so that your shoulders stack right above your hips. Soften your gaze toward the floor or let your eyes gently close. Your hands might rest lightly on your thighs, or you can feel free to bring one or both hands onto your belly or chest. So we'll begin our practice with a little bit of breathing today. Just allowing your belly to begin to soften, your jaw to relax. And simply bring your attention to your natural breath without doing anything to change your breathing. Just observe how deeply you're breathing. Observe the rhythm of your breath. And if you'd like, you might begin to allow your breath to lengthen and slow, bringing in a bit more air as you inhale and pressing out a bit more air on your exhale. Notice if you can hear the sound of your breathing. Notice where in your body you feel movement happening as you breathe. Lots of muscles involved with our breathing in the upper body. And we are practicing earlier in the day than I think we ever have together. So I just want to invite everyone to take a moment to just tune in to your emotional state, your mental state. Noticing how things might be a little different for you to arrive on your yoga mat in the morning for a class instead of in the evening, if that's new for you. And if you'd like to create any kind of intention for your practice today, then you can feel free to do that now. Now, setting an intention is an optional part of the yoga practice. It can just help us to weave in the mental and emotional piece along with the physical piece as we move our bodies. So creating some kind of intention for how you might move your body today or how you might talk to yourself during your yoga practice today. You know, these are just a few options for intentions you might set. If your hand's resting on your belly or chest, you can release hands back onto your knees or thighs. Gently lower your chin toward your chest, keeping your spine long. Just letting your head hang heavy. You can start to draw your shoulders onto your back a little bit more, lengthening the back of your neck. If you'd like, bring your fingertips onto the ground behind you, just gently tensing the fingers on the floor as you squeeze your shoulders together even more on your back. If Ujjayi or ocean breath is a part of your practice, you might begin that now. Just closing off the back of your throat just a little bit to bring a whispering or a wave sound to both the inhale and the exhale. Gently bring hands back to rest either on your thighs, or if it's available, take both hands onto your front shin. And that's only if you're sitting cross-legged. Otherwise, just let hands rest on your legs. Keeping the arms straight, start to lower your chin one more time toward your chest. And then from here, we'll gently start to bring left ear toward left shoulder. Make sure your jaw is relaxed, your tongue hang heavy in your mouth. And slowly start to sweep your chin down toward the center of your chest. Just taking a few breaths to make your way over to the right side. Being nice and gentle, nice and easy on your body, especially at the beginning of our practice. And gently sweep your chin back down toward the center of your chest. From there, inhale, lift your gaze to neutral, release your hands back to your thighs. Using your next inhale, sweep arms out and up. Join palms together if that's available. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Find 3 more just like that, moving with your breath. Greeting the day. Big inhales, reaching up toward the sun. And exhales, settling down toward the earth. After your 3rd round, just find that neutral spine, and we'll come into a twist, bringing your right fingertips behind you. Inhale, left arm reaches toward the ceiling. As you exhale, start to twist to your right, bringing your left hand to your right thigh or knee, and gently twisting your chest and your gaze toward the right. Continuing to allow your breath to lengthen. Keep your left hand where it is. Gently unwind your upper body. Let's bring the right arm across to the other knee. You might have to lift your knees up a little bit to reach here. And just let your knees fall back down into your hands. We'll start to draw the belly in and around the shoulders, tucking the chin. And you can rock a little side to side here, pressing each knee forward into each hand. Let's come back to neutral. Keep your arms crossed. Release your hands and just lift the back of your forearms together so you're in eagle arms with the left elbow on the bottom. You can, of course, unwind your arms and just press forearms together if that's more available or safer in your arms. You can also wrap your hands around that additional time if that's okay in your wrists. From eagle arms, start to squeeze your elbows, your shoulders, or your arms toward each other. Start to lift the elbows to the height of the shoulders. And start to press your hands away from you in space to feel more of a stretch. Just breathing gently here. We'll find one more long inhale. If you'd like, you might start to lift your gaze. Using your exhale, gently lower and unwind your arms. Let's let the hands rest back on your thighs. Just taking a breath to let that settle into your arms and shoulders. We'll move into that twist on the other side. Left fingertips behind your back, tense it on the ground. Inhale, right arm. Using your exhale, find your twist, bringing right hand down to left knee or thigh. Keeping your spine tall as you breathe. Keep your right hand where it is. Using an exhale, start to unwind the upper body and bring that left arm all the way across. If it's available, hold on to your knees. Now, if this doesn't feel available in your body, you can uncross your arms and hold your knees instead. That's another great option here. Crossing arms or just straightening the arms, holding the knees, and then letting the knees fall back into the hands. You might find a little rocking. And you might also start to curl your spine, drawing the belly in, tuck your chin. Coming back to a neutral seat. Keep elbows connected. Let's lift the forearms, eagle arms with the other arm on the bottom. Or of course, you can just bring forearms together. Finding any variation of eagle arms. Let's start to squeeze arms toward each other, lift elbows. Bring some awareness to your core here. See if your belly, your low ribs are just relaxed. And if they are, can you engage your core a bit, drawing that upper abdomen inward. Using one more inhale, option to lift your gaze. Exhale, letting the elbows lower, the arms unwind, hands relax onto your thighs. Inhale, both shoulders lift up toward your ears. As you exhale, let them fall down toward the ground. Just loosening the shoulders up. Let's find a few more like that. Shrug and then release. Shrug and release. And one more round. Now from here, let's make our way onto hands and knees, setting up for your table pose. If you're practicing on a hard surface, then you might bring a blanket or a towel under your knees for some additional padding. Finding your tabletop, stack your shoulders above your wrists. You want the eyes of your elbows, the front of your elbows, starting to point toward the front of your mat. So external rotation of the upper arms, grounding down with the finger pads and the palms. Gaze back between your thighs. Make sure that your calves are lined up directly behind your thighs, and pressing the tops of your feet down firmly into the floor. Let's start to find some hip circles today, moving either direction and starting to find some movement through your hips and shoulders. And you might make little tiny circles here or really big circles. This is a great opportunity just to tune into your body and see what feels best for me this morning. Start to make those circles in the other direction if you haven't switched directions already. Start to find your way back into a table pose. You might need to reset your knees or your hands so that we're still stacking our joints. We'll find a cow pose for 4 breaths here. Starting to lower your belly, let your gaze lift, your tailbone lift. Draw your shoulders onto your back, gently reach your heart forward. Breathing here, just creating a nice big arch in your back, shining your heart toward the front of the room. Using an exhale, draw your belly in, start to press into the floor. Let's round our spines, coming into a cat pose. Press the floor away from you. Draw your lowest ribs and your chest up and into your body. Releasing back to neutral table pose. Let's walk knees out wide. Bring your big toes together and find your child's pose, rocking hips back toward your heels. Option to walk your hands forward a little bit, finding even more length in the side bodies before you lower forehead to the floor or a block. Using your next inhale, gently make your way back up onto hands and knees. Resetting your table pose with the knees under your hips. I'll offer just some gentle core work here at the beginning of our practice today. Of course, everything we do is optional, and I just invite you to participate as long as it feels okay and feels safe in your body. Take a break anytime you want to. Start to engage your abdomen, drawing those low ribs inward. Bring your left foot to the back of your mat. And you can bring the ball of your foot down, just strengthening up through the left thigh. If you'd like a little more heat building, start to lift your leg parallel to the floor. So the left leg is lifting. Now to add on here, to make this more of a core and center body exercise, start to shift your weight onto your left hand. Engage your abs and start to reach right arm forward. Thumb reaches up toward the ceiling. Now just breathing here. You can either stay here and take rest anytime, or you might join me for some movement, really bringing awareness to the core of the body. So as you exhale, you'll start to draw the knee and your elbow closer together. Maybe they touch, maybe not. Then inhale, extend back out. Find several more, just moving with your breath. Exhales, knee and elbow come together. Strong belly. Inhales as you extend. Let's find one more. Inhale to extend. Exhale, round. Core draws up and in. Let's hold here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release. Come back to your table pose and just sway your hips side to side. Coming back to neutral, let's set up for side number 2. Right foot extends to the back of the mat, bringing the ball of the foot down and strengthening up that back thigh. Now you might just stay right there, or you can explore lifting your leg, challenging your balance a bit more. If you're working with the core, start to shift weight onto your right hand this time. Left arm reaches up, thumb points toward the ceiling. And just breathing here, keeping that strong belly. And if you'd like to start to move with your breath, you can do that now. Exhaling, knee and elbow come closer together as your belly draws in. Inhales, expand and extend long. Let's do one more round. Long extension, and then as you exhale, curling in and holding for 4, draw belly in, 3, 2, and 1. Release it down. Table pose, and let's find child's pose again. Knees out wide, big toes to touch, rocking those hips back and down. Now your arms might want a different variation here. So you can bring one cheek down, let your arms wrap around the outside of your thighs. The shoulders just slump down toward the floor. Walk your hands forward, start to press yourself up to sit on your knees or shins. We'll just find a little wrist release here. If kneeling is uncomfortable, you can just extend your legs out in front of you or sit cross-legged. We'll just be here for a minute. Circling your wrists in each direction, making fists with your hands. And then you can give your hands a good little shake, just releasing any tension, any stiffness or stuckness. Coming back to hands and knees. I'm gonna offer puppy pose today, which is a variation on downward dog. And it's a great option instead of downward dog, if downward dog feels not so great for whatever reason. So tucking your toes under from table pose, you're gonna keep your hips above your knees, right where they are, and start to walk your hands forward toward the front of your mat. So kind of in this awkward position in the upper body. You're starting to melt your heart down toward the mat. The forehead can rest on a block or right on your mat if that's available. So we are finding more of a down dog shape in the upper body, letting the tailbone lift, letting the heart melt, and keeping the arms strong, the elbows lifted. As you inhale, lift your gaze, walk your palms back under your shoulders. Now either stay in table pose, untucking your toes for about 5 more breaths, or find down dog, tucking toes under, letting your hips lift you up and back as you find that upside down V shape in your body. If you're in down dog, feel free to take a few breaths just to shift your weight, start to open up the backs of your legs. Let your head nod and shake a few times. Long breath in and a full breath out. Gazing forward, let's all start to make our way up to the front of the mat. We'll inhale into a flat back. When we get there, bringing your feet about hips width distance, lengthening your spine with your hands resting on blocks or shins. Let's pause here just to draw the shoulders onto the back. Hug the lowest ribs and the belly in, creating lots of length in your upper body. Now you might have a bend in your knees here. You can notice as you bend your knees, does that actually allow your low back to lengthen more? Use your next exhale to release. Belly to thighs. Let's fold over our legs. Just let your hands and arms hang heavy today. You can sway a little bit in the upper body. Noticing, are you standing all the way back in your heels here? And if it's possible, might you strengthen up your legs and bring a little more of your weight onto the balls of your feet? Can you trust your feet to hold you? Let's inhale, find a flat back. Exhale in your flat back, bringing hands onto your hips. Press down into your feet and use your next inhale to rise slowly up to standing. And from standing, we'll just release the hands down. We'll find our mountain pose, spinning the palms forward. We're now standing at the front of our mat, finding that equal weight across both of your feet. You can always shift your weight side to side just to help bring that information online of how are you standing in your feet today? What is that connection like between your heels, your toes, and the balls of your feet and the floor? Use your next inhale to sweep your arms out and up. Either keep both arms lifted with the hands separated, or you can join the palms together and point the pointer fingers above you. Using an exhale, we'll start to take a side bend to the right. So just gently reaching up and over to your right. You can pull a little bit on your left hand if your hands are clasped. Only going so far as you can still breathe comfortably. You can keep that weight equal across both feet. As you inhale, reach both hands back up to the ceiling. Exhale, part the air with your arms. Let's just come into our mountain pose for a few breaths, allowing that to settle in that right side or left side. Then as you're ready, lifting arms up for side number 2. Hands can be separate or palms connect, pointing through the pointer fingers. If you're interlacing fingers, try to switch which thumb is on top this time. So we're evening out the body. And then begin your side bend to your left this time. Right hand reaches up and over. You might pull a little on that right hand to help you lengthen. Inhale, both arms reach straight up toward the ceiling. Exhale, again, part the air, arms out wide. Just let your body rest in stillness in your equal standing pose. Noticing sensations in your arms, sides of your body, maybe even feeling your heart beating. As you inhale, arms lift once again. Soften your knees. Exhale, swan dive forward, hinging at your hips. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands down to the ground, or you can bring hands onto your blocks, framing your feet. Step your left foot to the back of your mat. You can either keep that back knee lifted today for a high lunge, or bring it down to the mat for a bit more stability and grounding. You can choose at any time to lift or lower that back knee. Right knee in the front is stacking over your right ankle. Right toes pointing forward. Let's plant the left hand on a block or the floor under your shoulder. As you inhale, reach your right hand up toward the ceiling. Big twist in the upper body. With an exhale, start to float your right hand down toward the floor. Come up onto your fingertips or both hands on blocks at their highest height. And either stay where you are or engage your core, hug your navel in, and slowly start to lift your upper body. Now you might bring your hands to rest on your front thigh, or you can float your arms all the way up, biceps beside your ears. Let your gaze find a single point in front of you and just relax your eyes at that point. Allow your tongue to soften in your mouth. That helps your nervous system to relax so you can balance more. Press the back of your left knee toward the ceiling, really trying to straighten out and strengthen that back leg. As you exhale, start to float the hands back down to blocks or the mat, and take one or more steps with your back foot to bring it up to the front. Let's fold forward over both legs, finding a rag doll, interlace hands into elbow creases, and just let your upper body swivel and sway, perhaps allowing a sigh to escape from your mouth. Let's inhale, flat back. Exhale as you fold forward, hands to the floor or your blocks, and we're gonna find the other side, working that right foot all the way back. And again, you might lower the back knee, or you can tuck the back toes, strengthen the leg, and keep the knee lifted. Just want your front knee stacking above your ankle for safety. Right hand plants on a block or the floor under your shoulder. As you inhale, find your twist. Left arm reaching up, shoulders stack. As you exhale, float your left hand back down. Come onto both hands on fingertips or blocks. And now, of course, you might lower that back knee or keep it lifted. And you have the option to start lifting upper body. Now you can pause with both hands, grounding down into your front knee or thigh, helping just to stabilize. If you feel really balanced here, engage your core even more and start to lift your arms. Softening the shoulders, softening your gaze. Use your next exhale to float your hands all the way down and either step or walk your way back into a plank pose. And you might lower your knees down for a knee plank. Keep that belly strong, or knees lifted, top of a push-up, full plank. 4 breaths. Using your 4th exhale, let your knees come down. Keep your belly strong. Bend your elbows as you lower, heart all the way to the ground. Roll over your toes so the tops of your feet push down. Walk your elbows forward. Let's find Spinks Pose. So just bringing your forearms parallel, your elbows under your shoulders. You can let your heart kind of drop down here as you wiggle your shoulders more onto your back. Then press into your elbows, start to lift your chest, gazing down the line of your nose as you find this upper body back bend or upper back bend. As you exhale, start to release and slide your palms back beside your ribs, fingertips, in line with the shoulders. Hugging elbows in. Let's inhale, baby cobra. Heart floats up. Your legs can be strong here, really flexing through your glutes. And using an exhale again, gently release. Let's stack your hands and then just let your forehead rest on top of your hands. If you'd like a low back release, bend your knees and let your calves windshield wiper slowly side to side. Let your calves release. Let's find a few breaths just lying in stillness, feeling your belly and your heart be supported by the floor. And if you created an intention today, just remind yourself one more time of whatever your intention is. Taking all the time you need, start to make your way back up into either a table pose, puppy pose, or downward facing dog. And you get to decide, as always, which one of those poses would feel best for you right in this moment. And 3 more breaths wherever you are. Gazing forward, we'll all start to make our way up to the front of the mat from wherever you are. We'll meet in a flat back. Nice bend in both knees, inhaling to lengthen the spine. Crown of your head forward, tailbone back. As you exhale, soften knees, fold forward. Keep your knees bent as you gaze forward. Using an inhale, start to sweep your arms out and up. Let's rise all the way to standing with a flat back. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let your shoulders slide down your back. Just notice how you're standing in your feet. Can you even out that weight between the balls and the heels? Can you gently lift through the inner arches? It's kind of an energetic lift of the inner arches of the feet, drawing energy up the inner line of the leg. We're really grounding down through the outer corners of our feet. As you're ready here, find warrior 2 with the right foot forward. So left foot can step back. You might have a stance of any length here. Want your right toes pointing toward the front of the mat and your left toes pointing to the left. So we're opening the hips a bit. We're bending into that front knee, making sure the knee is tracking over the ankle. Now, sometimes this front knee likes to cave in, right? It kind of likes to fall in if our hips are tight. We want to be really mindful not to allow the knee to fall inward toward the center of your mat. You want to keep that knee pressing out. One good way to make sure your knee is safe here is to look down at your front foot and make sure you can see your big toe. If you can't see your big toe, it's likely that your knee is kind of falling in. So just gently opening that knee out, grounding down through the outer edge of both feet, adding on the arms straight out from your shoulders. The softening gaze over those front fingertips. Let's hang out here for several breaths so you can really notice the power in this pose in your legs and your core. And there's also that lightness in the upper part of the body and the face in your breath. So Hatha yoga, Hatha means sun, moon. It's an equal practice where there's a balance of effort and ease, not only throughout the entire practice, but often within each pose itself. So notice if you can sense some effort and some ease in your body at the same time. Let's keep the bend in the front knee. Bend your right elbow and start to lower that right forearm onto your right thigh. Then you're going to open that left palm and start to reach it straight up. So we're in the side angle pose, getting a long stretch through the left side of your body. If it's okay in your shoulder, you can start to extend that arm even more overhead, spinning your pinky down toward the floor. Rooting down with the outer edge of your back foot. Let your stretch come from that place, extending all the way up from your foot. Press down into your feet. Using an inhale, we're going to windmill the arms all the way up for reverse warrior. Your back hand can just rest lightly on your back thigh. Now we'll get a big stretch out of the front hip, keeping a lunge in your front knee. As you exhale, come back to warrior 2. Option to deepen your bend in your front knee by a little bit. And then releasing hands back to your hips. Take one or more steps up to the front of your mat, where you'll find your mountain pose again. Equal standing pose. And just take a moment to notice how your body feels. We did a lot of stretching and opening on one side, so you might feel a little wonky right now. And let's make our way into side 2. So right foot steps back. I'm gonna find that same stretch, warrior 2. Right foot out to the right side, left toes pointing forward. And do that same check with your front knee. Can you see your front big toe? Make sure your left knee is gently pressing out to the left side of your mat. As you settle your gaze, can you tune in to effort and ease in your body? Start to bend the front elbow, gently lowering that left forearm across your left thigh as you reach your right hand straight up toward the ceiling. So we're trying to stack our shoulders here, opening your heart to the right. If you did so before, you can sweep that top arm overhead for even a longer stretch, being mindful of your shoulder. Start to press down into your feet. And as you inhale, we'll windmill the arms up and back, reversing warrior. Long and full breaths, very lightweight in your back hand. As you exhale, come back to warrior two. Option to deepen your bend in your front knee just a tiny bit. 2 more breaths, really firing up the thighs. With your next exhale, let's windmill the hands all the way down. Pop up onto your back toes and step or walk yourself back into a plank, or lowering your knees, come into your knee plank. I'm gonna flow through a vinyasa of your choice here. So you might lower all the way down and then move through Cobra again, or you might lower halfway down and then roll over your toes, keeping your thighs strong, come up into upward facing dog. As you exhale, find down dog, child's pose, or table pose, whatever feels best for you. Gaze forward, walk or step your way up to the front of the mat. We'll meet there in a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Softening your knees, inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose here, and then sigh it out your mouth. I'm going to offer a balancing sequence. We're going to move through dancer pose today. And I really love using the wall or something in your house if you have something that you'd like to use to help you balance. It can be really nice just to have something nearby. A wall, a table, a chair, place a hand or a finger, or even 2 hands. We'll stand on our right foot first. So if you want to use a wall, you're going to want it on the right side of you. Just letting that hand either rest on the wall, or you can let both hands come onto your hips. Start to shift your weight onto your right foot. You're going to lift that left foot and try to catch the ankle or the top of your foot in your left hand. And so you can just hang out right here, gazing forward, rooting down through your standing leg. Another option is to start to kick your foot back into your hand as you reach your heart forward. Oh, your right hand can be on the wall, or it might be reaching straight forward. Now your back foot is kicking into your hand, and that's what's helping to lift your knee. Your heart's lifting and your gaze is lifting. And slowly start to make your way back to standing. And then we can release the left foot. And give that leg a nice little shake. Circle your ankle. And then we'll set up for the second side. So you want the wall or your chair on your left side for this time. Shifting weight onto your left foot. Try to catch your right ankle or the top of your foot in your right hand. Start here, just pressing, sending that right knee down toward the ground. Starting to lengthen the front of this right thigh and hip flexor. And then if you'd like to fold, start to kick your foot back into your hand as your heart reaches forward. Your hand can stay on the wall, or you might start to reach that arm forward. Notice your breath and see if you can relax your jaw. And start to make your way back to standing. And release your foot. Shake out right leg. Circle right ankle. Great, make your way back to the front of your mat. Feet under hips or slightly wider. Inhale, sweep both arms out and up. Soften your knees. Exhale, hinge at your hips and dive down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands and step back. Now you might even move straight into a child's pose, or you can take one more vinyasa of your choice, just moving with your breath. And we'll all meet in a child's pose, bringing your knees out wide, your big toes to touch, resting hips back toward your heels. Let your forehead or a cheek come down, choosing any variation with the arms, either extended forward or wrapping around your knees. Remind yourself of your intention again. As you're ready, start to make your way up to seated. We'll do a few seated stretches. So this is a great time to bring a blanket or towel underneath your sits bones. Now, I invite you to find a straddle pose today. So extending your legs out wide, any amount. Really doesn't matter how much space is between your legs here. What matters is that you're flexing your feet, drawing those toes up and toward the back wall. So starting to have that external rotation of your thighs, your hips. Fingertips can tent behind you on the floor. Love using fingertips on the floor here to create a lot of space in my low back, pressing down into those fingers, trying to gently tilt the pelvis forward even a little bit to help lengthen through the sacrum, the low back. Breathing right here might be plenty. You also have the option to bring your hands in front of you. I'm just going to invite you to try to keep your spine long if you're folding forward. So try to walk hands forward as the heart reaches forward. And you might come down to just rest on your hands here. Bring your forearms onto blocks or a pillow. If it's available, your forearms might come down to the floor. Keeping feet flexed. If you're folded forward, come back up onto your fingertips, coming into a tall seat once again. I'm going to invite all of us to turn and square your torso as best you can toward the left thigh. Just kind of looking at your left leg, still sitting up tall. Your hands are on either side of your leg. And from here, we'll start to reach the heart forward, keeping shoulders on your back. Hands can stay on the ground, or they might reach for your shin or your foot. So you just draw your upper body down over that right leg, or left leg rather. Using an inhale, slowly make your way up. And these are pretty deep stretches, so be really slow and gentle as you move or transition from one side to the other. From center, start to turn your torso toward the right leg, just squaring it as best you can. And either stay there or start to reach heart forward over right leg. Hands can find the shin or your foot. Doing your best to keep your spine lengthening, your heart reaching toward your toes. Use your inhale to start to transition back to seated. Just walking your hands up your leg, facing forward. Sit tall for a moment here. Let's bring hands under your knees. Then we lift those knees up, bring your legs together. I'm going to turn sideways. We're going to prepare to lie down onto our backs. If you like to have some padding under your back, you can place your blanket under you or just set it off to the side. Now, if you do have a pillow or a block, then have that handy. If you don't have a pillow or a block, don't worry about it at all. I'm just going to bring that block so you can reach it when you're lying down. Bend your knees, let your feet plant on the floor. Arms reach forward. Now start to work with your core again here, hugging your navel in, letting your shoulders start to round. Reach forward as you begin to roll down little by little. Just resisting gravity here using your abdomen. When you do come down, just let your back rest on the ground and lift your knees up into the air, keeping your knees bent. We're going to bring our fingertips onto our shoulders, just gently holding your shoulders, elbows out to the side. And I'm going to offer some core work, working with some bicycling here, cross body movements. And of course, you can just take rest anytime if this isn't for you today. So I'll invite you to engage your abdomen, gently lift your gaze if that's okay in your neck. Start to extend the right leg long, and then reach your right elbow toward your left knee. Then we're just gonna switch sides. So left leg extends, bend your right knee, and try to touch your left elbow to your right knee. So it's very similar to that movement we were doing in table pose earlier. We're just bringing the knee and the elbow closer together, using our breath. Try to lift from your shoulders instead of just reaching your elbow to your knee. So lifting those shoulders a little bit more off the ground, getting that upper core to engage. Breathing. Give yourself rest at any time that you'd like. I'm going to offer about a minute of this movement. Just know you can always give yourself a break. I'm going to take one for a few seconds, few breaths, and then just rejoin as soon as you feel ready. Now, if you feel that quivery, shaky feeling inside your body, is that okay for you to just notice that? And if not, then give yourself rest. About 30 more seconds. Then you bring a smile to your face. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your legs release. Reach your arms overhead. Find a big stretch for your body. Deeper breath. Just letting your belly expand. And then gently bring your arms down beside you and bend your knees, planting your feet on the floor. Feet hips width or slightly wider, knees above your ankles. So I'm going to offer bridge, and if you do have a pillow or a block, I recommend this to be a supported bridge pose today. If you don't have access to those things, that's not a problem at all. You can do regular bridge pose. So either one, you're going to have your arms down beside you, palms down. Gently curl your tailbone under. Then press into your feet to lift your hips any amount toward the ceiling. Breathing and opening into the front of your body. And if you have a block or a pillow, you can bring it underneath your low back at any height that feels comfortable. And just let your sacrum release onto that block or pillow. Now your sacrum is that big flat triangular bone, the back of your hips. So if you are in the supported bridge, you don't want that block digging into your spine. Move the block up or down on your back until you find a place that feels comfortable. If you're not in a supported bridge here, maybe take 5 to 10 breaths and then just gently let yourself lower down, curling your tailbone under as you come down. And if you're in a supported bridge, I'm going to invite you just to relax your body here for another 30 seconds or so. You, of course, have the option to extend one or both legs for a bit of a different or deeper stretch. And you might also extend one or both arms overhead, finding this nice long back bend. Notice your abdomen and what sensations are there. If there is any sense of tenderness or new breath coming in, maybe a little relief since we're not working with those deep muscles so much anymore. If you're in supported bridge still, bend your knees and plant your feet if they're long, and bring your arms down if they're up above you. Gently press down into your feet to lift your hips just enough to remove whatever is supporting your back. And then as you lower, try to lower slow, curling your tailbone under and lengthening your back as you come down. So one vertebra touches at a time. So your whole back is connected with the ground. Let's walk feet out to the edges of the mat and just let your thighs knock together at center. Bring your hands to rest on your belly and your chest. Relax your jaw and start to let your head rock really slowly side to side. Massaging all around your head on your mat. Seeing how much you can release your neck to just find a little rhythmic, fluid movement here. And gently bringing your gaze back up toward the ceiling. Just extend the arms out from your shoulders, creating a T from your shoulders. Walk your feet back in toward the center of your mat, keeping your knees bent. You might lift your hips and move them about an inch over to your left. And then gently let your knees come down to the right side. And that little adjustment is just to keep our hips and shoulders aligned as we twist. Both knees relaxing down to the right side. Feel free to bring your right hand on top of your left thigh if that's available. And you might start to move your gaze over your left shoulder. Now just seeing how much effort we can release from our practice and how much ease we can bring in. Can you balance out all that core work that you did with relaxing into the floor now, letting your shoulders get really heavy? Bring your gaze above you. Arms reach out to a T. Let's start to make our way to the other side. So bring your knees back up. Make sure your spine comes into a straight and neutral position. And then before you lower knees to your left, you might actually send your hips 1 inch or so to your right. Then let both knees lower to your left. Your left hand can rest on top of your right thigh if you'd like. And just letting your gaze move in any direction that's comfortable here. Move your gaze to the ceiling and draw your knees into your chest, neutralizing your spine into a straight line. Wrap your arms around your shins, giving yourself a nice big hug and lifting head and shoulders if you'd like. Using your exhale, start to find your way into your resting pose. You might have your knees bent today, thighs knocking together, or you might find traditional Shavasana with your legs extended long, your arms down beside you, your spine and your neck and head all in one long line. Softening your gaze above you or allowing your eyes to close. Let's take a deep sigh just to release any controlled breathing practice. Inhaling full breath through your nose. Open your mouth. And just allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm where you don't have to exert any effort at all. Starting to invite the muscles of your body to completely release to gravity. Just allowing the floor and your mat to hold your body so you don't have to do any work. And if you find your mind is distracted, just know that that is what the mind does. Its job is to distract us, to give us lots to think about and ponder. So I invite you today just to bring some awareness to what is it that your mind is distracted by? What is the quality of that material? And not to bring any judgment into that, but simply to bring awareness, to be an observer of your own mind. And gently bring your awareness back to your body, just noticing the state of relaxation. And being mindful and slow, start to wiggle your toes, run your thumbs across your fingertips. And then find some gentle circles with your ankles and wrists. Just being tender with your body as you awaken it out of its resting pose. If you'd like a long stretch, feel free to extend your arms overhead as you bring your feet together and lengthen your body. And then taking your time, bend both knees, drawing them in toward your chest, roll over onto either side. Just letting yourself find some rest there on your side, transitioning slowly. And as you lie on your side, still allowing the mat to support you and hold your body, you might repeat your intention once again to yourself so that you can carry that intention throughout the rest of your day today, if you so choose. And gradually make your way up and find a comfortable seat. Just taking your time. There's no rush. You might bring a pillow or blanket under you, or even let your body rest against a piece of furniture if you'd like. Just finding a way to be easy in your muscles right now as we come to the end of our practice. Feel free to join your palms together, gently resting your thumbs against heart center. Bowing your chin forward and taking this moment just to honor yourself and all of your effort today. And send yourself gratitude for creating this space in your life for yoga. Thank you all so much for joining in this morning. It was fun having a morning practice with you. I bow to you. Namaste.